Preaching without notes.
If you are a first-time preacher, preaching seems frightening enough. But to preach without notes, well, that can be terrifying. But preaching without notes is not as hard as it sounds. All it takes is a mastery of the main idea of what you intend to say, and practice, practice, practice. In this lesson, we're going to talk about why and how to preach without notes.
To many people, preaching without notes may sound like it's easier. You just extemporize. But the truth is that if you want to do it right, preaching without notes requires more preparation and not less preparation than preaching with notes. First of all, you must prepare an expository sermon in your usual way, studying and exegeting the passage as you should, fully developing an outline, and possibly even a manuscript. I think there's advantage to doing manuscript even if you are not going to use it in the pulpit. Then it is critically important that you practice the sermon aloud, alone and with gestures. This helps to firmly fix in your mind what it is you're going to say. You can use notes and manuscripts with this if you like, but do it more than once so that you get the feel of what you're going to be saying. As you preach through it, picture your congregation that you're intending to preach to. Imagine the people before you and what they would think of it, and preach to those people as if they were standing right before you. As you preach before this congregation, this invisible congregation, notice the visual and gesture cues that you're using. Notice the ones that you use for main points, and rehearse making the same gestures and movements for each point. This will help to solidify where the points are in your mind. Rehearse all the illustrations that you intend to use, noticing how they feel. Oftentimes when I preach without notes and I rehearse, I discover that some illustrations that sounded good on paper or looked good on paper did not sound so well when I said them. As you practice your sermon, don't be surprised if some new illustrations come into your mind. Some of those illustrations will be worth keeping as you begin to preach the sermon to yourself. As you preach the sermon to yourself, ask yourself what it means to the people that you picture, and as you do, applications will come into your mind as well. You can add those applications to your sermon.
The greatest danger in preaching without notes is wandering off into areas that you didn't intend to say unprepared. While I concede that the Holy Spirit can often lead us in directions that we don't expect and prompt such diversions, we have to remember that so does our own ego and our own interests. Pray before you preach without notes. Ask the Spirit to keep you on track, to say what He wants you to say, and not just what you would like to say.